All right, guys, I want to start the stream. Oh, and I got a tweet. I got to send out the tweets. Oh my goodness.
So I may get interrupted during this show. Just saying.
Gotcha. Really quick. Don't know if you guys ever heard the name Kevin Toffel.
No.
I know the name, but I don't know where I know the name.
Yeah.
He's been podcasting for a long time. Worked at Google. Does like a couple right now. I think he does 2 or 3 podcasts. One of them is like an Internet of Things type podcast. He asked, and he's been podcasting like 10 years. My Brave browser is taking a dump.
Being wimpy.
He asked for input. He said on the one podcast where he's like 400 episodes in, he said, we've never done ads before, and we're going to look at doing it. How do you?
I don't know if they advertise.
Yeah, they have no money. I tried contacting them once before, and the guy just shot really straight with me and said, "We have no money. We are barely making money." I gotta fix this real quick. Oh, crikey. That, but this is where I gotta go. Okay. $55.
GoDaddy doesn't seem to do as much podcast support as they used to when Bob was in charge.
Well, the gimmick is now they're technically not doing any podcast support. The only thing they're doing is offering affiliate links. They kind of basically completely got out of it. There was like 3 companies who were in it there for well over a year, and then all of a sudden they just stopped doing all ads and just do affiliate.
Well, they found out the truth. Podcast advertising doesn't work.
Well, I'll say it depends. If you're a scummy company, you better have some really convincing ads. And if you are a genuine company and really dedicated listeners with a product that makes sense for the listenership, if we're doing a podcast on developing websites and standing up websites and stuff, well, then it makes sense. But if I'm doing a podcast on baking cheese, advertising with them is stupid.
It doesn't work on a grand scale.
Okay. Can you go ahead and hit record in 3, 2, 1. Record. Test, 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 test. And for some reason, I almost hit stop in Audacity.
For some reason, my
telling you.
waveform was way at the top. I couldn't see it. But I can see it now, and it
Check
looks
1,
just
2.
super duper.
And we have, I think, 3 emails. One from Saham. One from Jonathan Dix, and one from Mike D.
I don't see those.
Okay, I'll forward them to you.
I see one from Ken and a Patreon. That's all I've got.
Well, the Patreon we did last week,
I think we did Ken last week too.
the Patreon was the maker of Podcast Addict.
Yeah, so I guess I didn't get the others.
Okay, just
Could be
forwarded 2 of them to you, I believe. If I
I never go there.
think I typed it right. Let me know if you get them too.
App list and Hangouts.
Sounds right. Yeah. Okay. Let me check one thing here. Make sure. Okay. Oh yeah. I got a question that I want you guys to tell me if it's legit or not.
Oh, yeah. I'd send him some money.
I did have a guy send me an email. It was a Nigerian 419 scam, like to the T. I haven't seen one of these for years, and it actually made it through email. That's fantastic. Okay. It's 481 mark.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Android App Addicts, episode 481. I am your host, Mark, the Sultan of the Soapbox Cockrell, and this is the show where we talk about Android apps, Android hardware, flooding in Houston, and whatever else happens to cross our minds. Joining me this week, as always, except last week when I wasn't here, as usual, are the real guys, the towers of power.
Sometimes.
The engine of destruction that is this show are DoorToDoorGeek, Steve McLaughlin, and Eric, the great one, Ardini.
The manager's fine.
Hey, guys.
The manager's fine. That's all you need to say. Great, exalted, poobah. Too much, man. You're going to make my head swell.
You mean that's not... Sorry.
That's not what she said. Oh, I'm just kind of freaking out. So my wife and my daughter took off in the camper tonight. Destination known, but not sure exactly how to get there or if anything would be there when they got there. But they took the truck and the camper, and now they're boondocking, just like all the people that we watch on YouTube. So good for them. I hope they have fun. I hope they make it through the night.
And for those not initiated in the ways of camping, boondocking means?
Oh, hold on a second. Boondocking means camping freely without a campground. And yes, my ringtone is Idiocracy.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Very carefully. We might be able to hear his conversation with his wife. We can yeah. What's going on in your app, Door?
I'll just say the one thing, because I do dog food, my own podcast. The one thing, honestly, Mark, I love is that immediate passion that comes out as soon as you start up every show. It's gold. That's all I gotta say. Gold. I guess I'm okay. Normal, tired. I'm now starting to accredit my tiredness with my lack of carbs and sugars. Eating like 3 or 4 grams of sugar a day at the high end, and on the low end 30 to 50 carbs a day. Last Friday I literally went to bed at like midnight or 1 a.m. somewhere between there, Saturday morning, the wife took the kids, went over her mother-in-law's for her mom's for something. I can't remember what it was. I just woke up and I realized it's really quiet in here. And I go and I look at the clock and it's 5 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it
And
looked like 17 hours or something like that.
yeah. And see, this is why I think the doctor sent me to a sleep study. I don't have a problem sleeping. And he thinks that me saying that sometimes I sleep for 12 plus hours. He thinks, well, then you're obviously not getting restful sleep. I'm thinking to myself, no, I'm getting fine sleep. I'm not waking up. I'm not tossing and turning. I'm not going to the bathroom or anything. I'm not waking up, choking. I'm not waking up with acid reflux. Nothing. I am out, and then 12 plus hours later, my eyes open. I don't know.
Do you remember dreams?
Since a young kid, very sparingly, ultra sparingly, maybe a couple times a year.
Because a dream remembered is sleep interrupted. So oftentimes people think they're dreaming.
Oh,
They say, I had the greatest dreams last night, but you can't remember a dream unless you wake up during the dream. That's a biological reality. So if you wake up and say, man, I had all these dreams last night, you were waking up during those dreams.
gotcha. Yeah, yeah, seriously, maybe 3 a year at most is when I remember. And they're, of course, nonsensical, weird things that happen. And then I usually forget about what the content of the dream was, just that dream was weird.
Starting tomorrow at about 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be on vacation for a week. And because of that, I am more tired than I've ever been in my life. It's crazy. When you know there's rest coming, you feel the tired more.
Yeah.
The kids at the end of school, they only get like they do because they know that there's a break coming. If kids were in school all year round, there wouldn't be any of that summer-itis thing, because I'm convinced it's entirely psychological, that you're only exhausted before a vacation because there's a vacation. If you didn't have one, you'd just be like, oh, Monday's another day.
Right.
And
Well,
you just keep going.
here's my question. At your work, does each day leading up to the vacation seem like you're being asked to do more and more stuff?
It doesn't seem like it is. Yeah,
Okay.
You got to make up for the work you're going to miss. And then when you
Right.
get back, you make up for the work that you missed. And,
Yes. Oh my God, that drives me I understand why. I'll say that. I understand, but it drives me nuts when they do that.
We have this thing where I work. I don't know if there's a name for it, but if you're really good at what you do, you get to do other people's stuff too. And so I today, starting at about 11, the other people's stuff started getting added to me. Hey, since you're going to be out next week, can you go ahead and do this and this and this and this? Yeah, that's a thing.
You get to do other people's stuff. I like that.
If you're really good, you get to do your job and other people's stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's some sort of incentive plan. It's like a bonus, maybe.
Well, in normal societal arrangements that make sense, the old saying is it is the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. But in corporate environments, it's the squeaky wheel that gets ignored, and the grease, and then that one wheel that's running really good gets spun so fast it explodes, or should I say its heart explodes from being overworked.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. So
Wife and daughter safe here?
Sorry.
What's that? Yeah. They're just she just wanted to verify a couple things, like you got to turn the gas on and you got to unplug the truck so you don't run the truck batteries dead. And then a van was coming, so she was like, well, maybe they're gonna let us know something. And then it's like, no, it's just, I bet it. I go, it's probably just a camper going back to his campsite from town somewhere or something. And it seems like maybe that's what it was. So I guess they're going to be all right. They ain't got much for electricity or too much. She's like, can I run the microwave? I'm like, no, can't run the microwave. You're not plugged in. Yeah. So they're going to do that thing.
You ever wondered why modern American homes are still on AC? Doesn't it make more sense to have a giant DC converter sitting out in the back? Because everything that you run converts to DC anyway, right? Everything's a wall wart.
Everything's got an adapter, doesn't it?
I'm thinking right now it's only because of Mo momentum and the sheer cost of change.
Yeah, it makes sense to me that if you're building new houses, if that's your business right now, just build them DC lines, right? I mean, even like the LED lights that I'm sitting under right now, they're DC. By nature. An LED has to have current only traveling one way, so there's a rectifier in there in that little bulb. You know, everything with the exception of like fans, you know, are DC powered, and those things could easily be converted. It just makes sense to me that if you're a construction guy right now and you were in the business of that, it would make more sense to just make everything DC.
And you know, maybe when solar powered or solar cell shingles are, you know, affordable and reliable, and every house is built with those instead of asphalt wasteful crappy shingles that you got to throw away every 20 years. And then your fence is made out of, you know, batteries instead of wood, then, you know, you wouldn't even need a line of DC coming. You just, you know, make your own energy, live off yourself. And yeah, everybody.
Now that I think about it, because you know, you really should posit these things and think about them for the first time on a podcast with thousands of people listening. It occurs to me that data transmission or power transmission at low voltage is difficult, even in the 100-foot range. So you would end up having to have like 0 gauge wire running in the house. Now that I think that through a little bit, that's one of the reasons that we use AC, because it's easy to transmit at large voltage. So maybe it's still impractical at this point.
My camper's 27 foot and it's got all you know 12-volt lights throughout. I don't know. And I just switched them over to LED ones from.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about if you followed my plan of the big DC transmitter sitting on a concrete pad or transformer sitting on a concrete pad out back, and you're in a 3-bedroom house, you've got to end up running wires, you know, 150, 200 feet. And at that point you run into heat dissipation issues and voltage drop issues. So yeah, maybe it's not as easy as it seems.
You just have one wall that's just a Qi charger, and everything in your house just runs wirelessly off of it.
You know, that's a thing now. It was talked about at the Consumer Electronics Show, CES. It's not Consumer Electronics Show anymore. Like 6 years ago, there was a prototype for it, but now you can actually buy it. It's a Qi charger. It's about the size of a flower vase, and it can shoot energy about 2 meters away. So you could throw it down in the middle of your desk and charge everything around it. So the time has come for that.
Well, it especially has now that Apple approved wireless charging to be a viable option now. You know,
yeah, nobody knew it was a thing until the iPhone X.
Yeah, my Nexus 7 that the USB port went out 3 years ago has been charging just fine off of a Qi charger every day. So yeah, I don't know. But I do see, you know, the future is no ports, super waterproof phones. And I wasn't going to get there unless Apple made us go that way. Get rid of the headphone jack.
It's so sad that that's true. That's a true statement. That there's a whole section of society for whom it's not a thing until Apple does it.
Oh yeah, and they're going to be cheesing when they lay their phone down for the first time and it charges slowly,
very slowly.
Maybe in the next couple of years they'll get turbo power on iPhones.
Yeah. Speaking of turbo power, Mark, I just got the news today from Google. They're like, hey, your Nexus 5X, you want to trade that in? We will let you trade it in on a Motorola Moto X4. So Google Project Fi now is going away from only Nexus and Pixel devices, and they actually brought in this Motorola. And it's $399 without any trade-in or anything. I was looking at the specs. It's not a whole lot more specs than my Nexus 5X, but given my Nexus 5X is 2 years old almost, it's only got 2 gigs of RAM. This Motorola Moto X4 has 3 gigs, but other than that, and it's a little more waterproof and dustproof. But other than that, the specs are like neck and neck. I think I'm probably gonna go with it though, just because.
You've chosen poorly.
Have I? Should I wait for the Pixel 2 instead? I haven't pulled the trigger yet. It's either
Mark,
gonna be the Pixel or that.
Tell Eric your feeling on how Motorola is heading.
Yeah, they are the cheap phones, and
Yes.
they're the phones that you buy your kids. My next phone probably won't be a Motorola because they've locked in that really early baseline market. This particular phone, the Moto X Pure, which I'm assuming would be probably the Moto X2 if you're following that line. It's a 2015 phone. I've grown to hate it with a passion. It just has not aged well. I don't know if that's trimming in the SSD. I don't know what the issue is, but we're at the point now where, just the same dozen or so apps that I've used regularly for years. It gets hot. It randomly reboots throughout the day. It just has not aged well. And while I was super proud of it in 2015, in 2017, I really want to just throw it and buy a new one.
And that was before Lenovo bought them out and made them crappy.
Yeah.
That's what all the Moto fans are saying. Hey, yeah, this thing's junk because Lenovo bought them and they suck.
Well, yeah, and like I've owned multiple Motorola devices. This is my Moto X. I've had at least 4 Moto phones. They used to be they used to be unbelievably well built, unbelievably strongly built kind of thing. Like you could really feel like they were not going to bend, not going to break kind of thing. They're splitting the gap now. They're trying to do that super thin phone with the modular pieces to it, and then everything else seems to be made without a lot of heart, is what I want to say. The first thing I'll say that I unbelievably agree with Mark is that phone, I can guarantee you, will not age well whatsoever. In under 8 months, it's going to feel slow and old.
Okay. Well, then I will hold off for the Pixel then.
Well, and I'll say it has 3 gigs of RAM. I got a new mini computer, and it has 4 gigs of RAM. Okay.
Yeah,
This is
right.
a $40 mini computer called the Rock 64 with gigabit NIC, 2 USB 2s, 1 USB 3 port on it, HDMI port on it, barrel jack power. Actually has physical buttons to turn on and off, and it has an IR sensor.
Nice.
After Premier shipping, $60. I'm having a issue getting Wi-Fi dongles to work. I think that's me because I didn't order their official power adapter. I just ordered a correct voltage, amperage, wattage one from Amazon yesterday. Should be coming soon. If I get the Wi-Fi working on this thing, I am willing to bet this would easily blow away $150 or more Amazon TV like set-top boxes. Just because it has 4 gigs of RAM. Because if you take a look at most of those TV set-top boxes, they're either 1 or 2 gigs. It's really difficult to find ones with even 3 gigs, and this thing has 4. And Amazon equals Java. It isn't like Java. It is, for all intents and purposes, Java. Java is a virtual machine. Virtual, it means RAM. Everything is stored in RAM. Android loves RAM. So this thing, I'm going to tell you now, little doubt in my mind, kicks complete butt with Android. I loaded Ubuntu desktop on it, hardwired networked into this thing. It's closer to desktop-like than I've seen any of these mini computers, but I'm going to test the Android side of it fully next week.
So you said that's got an IR on it, so you could use a universal remote or a Harmony or something to control it with as a set-top box.
Yep.
Very
And if you load Kodi, there's always the Kodi apps you can load on your phone to control it.
Yeah, so I was going to get a new phone and pass this 5X on to my son. So I will wait until after October 4th and check out the Pixel 2. And if it's not that big of a deal, I'll just get the old Pixel. And probably save $300. From the old to the new one or whatever.
Yeah, I'm becoming a fan of buying last generation hardware. I like to be that speeds and feeds guy. I want the newest and best. But over the years, I have come to have a real appreciation for last year's hardware.
Well, The only downside to it, I'm going to speak because there's people now screaming at their player. The only downside to buying last year's hardware is you're going to get one less year of updates and one less year of security updates. Everything else to me is an advantage.
Yeah, and being on Project Fi and Google is a little bit less than that. I mean, even this Moto X4 isn't shipping with Oreo, which is odd, but they said it'll have it before the end of the year. I'm always on the beta program for these Project Fi, so I'm always on the next one ahead of time. It was fun. Somebody in the Google, and I become blind to that. My only race to the top, like Mark was saying, where you want the latest and greatest and fastest. My whole thing with that was just getting into Project Fi, so I had a reliable carrier. I did get the latest and greatest just to buy into that ecosystem. But and then I ended up actually getting rid of that and getting the 5X, which was not the top of the line phone at the time. Which now, if I still had the 6P, I could trade in if it was broken for a Pixel at no cost. But whatever. I wish they'd do that with this one, but I don't remember where I was going with that. But that was the reason I got in, so I could get but I get desensitized to the newness of my operating system when I see Google Plus posts saying, "Oh, I finally got Nougat." I'm like, darn, yes. I'm glad I'm with Project Fi for that reason, especially because that was one of the most frustrating things, was waiting for Samsung to give me something that people had 2 years ago, on their phone, or a year ago, and I just keep waiting and rooting and ramming to get it, a couple months sooner.
And I forget the name that they call it, but Google is actively trying to bypass carriers in that by making, starting with Nougat, making the OS modular, in that it can be updated. It can do an end run around the carriers.
Yeah. I think it starts with a T. I can't remember.
Yeah, it does. It begins with T, and I never remember the name of it. Well, it's the kind of thing that we're not even supposed to know about, realize, admire, like, want, desire. It's supposed to be one of those things behind the scenes that, quote unquote, just works and make things a little bit, easier for updates and more seamless for us end users.
But Google recognizes that's a problem. That they are held captive by the carriers, and so they get it. It's an entire architecture shift to get around it.
Yeah. Soon enough, don't know when. Soon enough, security on an Android device is going to literally be more pressing than on Windows computers. Not right now, but soon. I think it's going to be just because of the amount of data we have on these devices. Things like ransomware, I think, are just more valuable to that kind of thing. So I think it's only a question of time. And I think Google is literally trying to get ahead of the game on this by breaking out a lot of their core parts into components that is upgradable on their end.
Right.
Yeah, I can't find the name of the damn thing.
Yeah, I can't think of it either.
We were all three Googling, trying to find.
We probably typed in the exact same search term and watched the same results roll by. Yeah, so for the people who are interested and they were thinking about Project Fi, but they didn't want the barrier of entry of these Pixel phones, which are really expensive. The X4 will be at $399, which is close to the 5X when it first came out was $430, I think. So that and then after that they just went to Pixels, which were $600-700. And I imagine the Pixel 2s will be that too. So it's a nice. They lowered the barrier of entry again into the Project Fi ecosystem. Once again, it runs on Sprint, T-Mobile, and U.S. Cellular. If you're in areas that those three, would work, then you're okay. Which I had. I originally had to lie about my zip code to even get the invite to get into Project Fi, because there was nothing around me, but it worked. It still worked, even though when it shipped, it still worked just fine. This 4X or X4. I keep saying 4. X4 has 3 gigs RAM, like I said. A little bigger battery, but other than that, the specs are pretty meh. It's a mid to lower level phone. Snapdragon 630, which I don't. I'm not
That's
sure.
2 years old.
Yeah.
Well, we've reached a point where cell phone technology is so mature that I just don't think there are going to be a lot of knock your socks off features, until some entirely new paradigm comes about. I don't know what that would
be. The
be.
Moto Mods isn't that, Mark?
Till it actually exists as a thing. No. I mean, people are still touting split screen and iframes. We're going back to 1997 web stuff there. You can have a screen inside a screen. We did that with iframes years ago. So we're just window dressing at this point. It's fins on the 57 Bel Air.
I'm waiting.
We got.
I'm waiting for the foldable phone, which is supposedly late next year. We're going to start to see.
Yeah. And I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more. The biggest issue with technology right now is powering it. As long as your battery has to be 6 inches by 3 inches, your phone can't get any smaller. It can't. What good is a foldable screen if you can't have a foldable battery? So that's going to be the issues.
For consumers, I don't care about foldable. I would just like to see a durable phone. Something you could actually drop and not break.
They're just more difficult to find. They're made by companies like Cat, and they're running 3-year-old Android OSs.
Right. So that's not treating the customers. The consumers would like a new phone that's updated specs that runs a newer operating system and won't break.
And costs $200.
One
of a little cheap, but yeah, that'd be fine too.
Right.
That's what people want, though. They want all the features with none of the price.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest things now with both the Google Pixel and the new iPhone is the primary talking points are about the price. Because for the first time, we're actually paying what the hardware is worth.
Yeah.
One of the rumors with the Pixel 2 is a IP rating of 6.8. Some people say 68. It's not 68. It's 6 is one, 8 is the other. 1 is the dust level of protection. 1 is the water level of protection. Which is, I believe, the absolute highest you can go as far as the IP rating. 6 is the dust. 8 is the liquids, which means completely submersible in a pool. You can literally play with it in a pool.
100 meter.
Yeah.
6.8, I'm pretty sure, is 100-meter depth.
Gotcha. And that's supposedly the rumor for the Pixel 2. And I will tell you, if you are a person who loves going to the pool, loves doing those kind of activities, that is a good selling feature for a phone. But I'll also say, because it's a 6.8, wouldn't shock me if it's also no headphone jack and questionable cable connections.
Well, on a recent camping trip, a friend of mine just got his new Samsung S8, which I think is also IP rating 6.8. And I just watched him just throw it right in the river, just dropped it. He's like, oh, did I drop that? And picked it back up like it's nothing. Like, yeah, that Moto X4 is also 6.8. So that must be the standard they're going towards now. Which I don't remember if it said it had a headphone jack. I'm guessing it probably doesn't. The fingerprint reader is on the front like a Samsung. So I wasn't really thrilled about that. It's got two big bulge out cameras on the back. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to wait. Pixel.
I was wrong. 8 is 1 meter, not 100 meters. So that's as high as the spec goes. The 9K is high pressure water duration, but the depth. Thank you, Wikipedia. The 6.8 is 1 meter, and there's a lot of 6.8 is pretty common. My Android, my Motorola smartwatch is 6.8. It's just not super common among phones.
Gotcha. I tell you, if my phone died on me today, I'll put a link to it in the chat. Here's the phone that I would probably be going after. It's a Xiaomi Mi Mix 2, basically completely bezel-less except the bottom, 8 gigs of RAM, and you can get onboard storage up to 256 gigs of storage.
See, why aren't these phones released in the United States?
The excuses I hear is overseas, uh, they all they care about is specs. They don't care about anything else. Where Americans are shallow and want brand names and want you know, uh, admiration from other people, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't even see a drawback reading these specs on this thing.
Well, here, okay, the skeptical drawback is this is Xiaomi, which I do believe it was Xiaomi or it was another one last week. There was some kind of kernel flaw found in lots of their devices that supposedly would allow root access that people believe was put there by the Chinese government. So you can always complain about that.
That could be why they're not here then.
But this
it's
phone,
not cheap. Not a cheap phone though, Door.
the lowest price you could get it for, I want to say, was like 530, 560. But the 256 gig RAM, yeah, that was like eight something, I believe. And this is compatible with what they said, all major networks, but I'm sure you will not be able to get this to work on Verizon. I will put that out there.
It does say CDMA in there though.
I'm sure it does, but I'm also sure if Verizon sees this thing on the network, they will remotely kill your connection.
All right. Well, that's a whole lot of hardware and a whole lot of philosophy. Some Android apps, since it's sort of built right into the name. I think I did Eric last time, so Dor, you start us this time, please.
Okay, I need you guys to do a sanity check on me. I publicly tweeted Steve Gibson because he's the only type of guy I know who can pull a sanity check off on this app's technology, whether or not it's good or not, realistic or not, believable or not, without having to go out and test it themselves. This is called Skimmer Scanner. Okay. The long and short of it is, a lot of these skimmers, when the bad guys take the data off of it, they don't physically touch the device. The logic is because if they come back and touch the device, then somebody could cuff them and take them away. So a lot of these skimmers have built-in Bluetooth things in them. So all that the bad guys have to do is walk close to it with their device and it sucks all the data off. And supposedly a large amount of the skimmers use one exact type of Bluetooth radio on it, because it's so small, so low power, blah, 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 blah. And what this does is basically you turn on your Bluetooth when you're at a place and it will scan for that one type of Bluetooth radio. And if it is found, it will tell you that there is a possible skimmer found. It's one of these, but here's the thing. Me being me, I know this is the exact kind of app, if I was a bad guy, I would create and I would inject malware in. I'm just saying.
Sure.
Because
that's exactly what I was.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I saw it on 2 different sites, neither of which were like, the big boys, I'll say.
I don't know. I got faith in Nick at SparkX, man. I don't think he'd pull that. I think he's all right.
I don't know, but it is called Skimmer Scanner, E for everyone, 83 reviews, completely free, no in-app ads, no in-app purchases, average review 3.9, updated September 20th, 2017, 1,000 and 5,000 installs, current version 1.2. The company URL for this is sparkfun.com. And I know I've heard of SparkFun from the Mini PC show. These guys put out a lot of mini computer maker hardware. So to me, that gives it a lot more credibility. And the logo is the same now that I look at it. SparkFun with the little logo. So that makes me feel better I'm not going to say great, but better.
But I do think that Nick has some good advice, not just for phones and gas stations, but just in general. And he says there's always a risk to sticking your card in a strange machine. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's risky.
Yeah, and I mean, I just keep feeling as time goes on, the likelihood of everybody every year, once a year, having a card compromise just seems to go up and up in odds and frequency and possibility. I would love I would love an idea of having something in my pocket that could help me detect when that might happen.
How would you know? I mean, I'm looking through the reviews of this, and they all say things like seems to work. How would you know? Unless you are the guy who installed this card skimmer, how would you know if it works?
Well, or if you work in an agency where that's what you investigate, or you're just one of them gray hats that happen to have, I have one of those devices right here. Let me see. But supposedly everything that connects through any technology has a type of MAC address, even though Bluetooth is a different type of MAC address. And the manufacturer ID in the very beginning is always going to be the same. The first, I believe, 6 bits, and the last 6 bits are like the serial number, but the first 6 bits are the same. And that's what they're scanning to find, they say. I don't know. But it's the kind of app I'm literally going to leave in my queue, because I keep thinking in a couple of weeks I'm going to hear somebody reputable report on this type of app on any kind of success or failure, even if it only works successfully 1 out of 20 skimmers, and it isn't dangerous to have on your phone, then I'm all for it.
When the first sentence of a review was surprised to find that the app did not crash, doesn't actually speak well of the overall life of the app.
The previous version was very crashy.
Yeah.
Robert Cox said that it worked great and saved his skin once already. And another reviewer was like, well, why not have it have a way to delete the Bluetooth data so when they so they can't send it later when the guy comes around with.
And here's the ironic thing. If they are transmitting via Bluetooth, more than likely their Bluetooth is going to be vulnerable to the Blueborn vulnerability, which means technically you could have gray hat guys going around finding skimmers and wiping them themselves.
Yeah.
The reply to that was if we erase the scanner, there'd be no way for somebody to know if they had been hacked previously or not. I don't know that I buy that logic, actually.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. It's sad that we have to have this, honestly. But it's worth, waving your phone across an ATM or a gas pump just to be safe. Or is it? Is it really? I haven't decided whether it's actually worth it or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
no.
it's been a long time since we walked into the Clark station and the lady was back there just smoking a cigarette. The whole little 5x5 place filled with Snickers bars and cigarette smoke. Remember those days? Like, gas was still 99 cents. You only bought $2 at a time because that's all the money you had. But remember that lady though, Mark, that sat in there?
Everyone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She looked like smoked veal. She was just sitting there, marinating in her own juices.
How's it going tonight, honey?
You're always afraid to get the girly mags because she might know your mama.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. those are directly across from her on the other side of the snack foods. Yeah.
All right, Eric.
Coffee wasn't as cool back then.
No.
Oh, this isn't an app, but I just wanted to make people aware. One more benefit of it could be an app. I mean, if you watch Amazon Video on your tablet, next Thursday, Amazon Prime is actually streaming the Bears-Packers game a week from today. So I will not be on the show because I got to watch Bears-Packers. But it's kind of neat that the NFL is moving over to that. And I don't know if they're also going to be on broadcast TV at the same time. I imagine they will. But
actually, these look like Thursday night games, which I think are on ESPN maybe still.
Well, if they are, then this would be the only way I could see it because I don't.
They're on NFL Network, CBS, and NBC, depending on the game. They've divvied them up throughout the year.
Gotcha.
So yes, I mean, for those who don't pay the big cable bill to get ESPN or NFL Network, this is one more way to do it. Hopefully the quality is good enough for sports fans over Amazon.
Well, I'll say it like this. I don't think it's hard based upon who we're talking about, Amazon. If anybody should know and understand the repercussions of saying, hey guys, we can stream a professional sports team, I really hope they understand how to, scale up and scale out using those terms I hate hearing in meetings.
Well, and they're already streaming terabytes of data every hour anyway, so it shouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah,
true.
Probably petabytes, honestly. And I love the way they've, here's the Prime thing. Here's where you can watch it, and down here's T-shirts, caps, and sweatshirts for all your team logos. Honestly, I think that's brilliant.
How convenient.
And if you've partaken too much in the beer mugs there's fitness trackers just right below that.
I don't have the fitness trackers. I've got tactical flashlights and quick
I got that one.
lawn sprinklers or something. Oh no, they must have been listening earlier. Quick connect for low pressure propane systems. In case
waist trimmer at belt. I'm trying not to take that one personally. That was one of mine.
I've got a lot of beds for some reason. I think I need sleep. There's a lot of beds. That's weird. I've never bought a bed.
I know. Anytime I use the Amazon app on my phone to search for something, immediately all the ads in my games are for the thing that I was just searching for.
Yeah. You ever had it where you didn't search for it and just like set it and then?
No, man, that's a cognitive bias. That's not real. How many things do you say a day that you never see an ad for?
I never see an ad for ordinances or property liens. So yeah, I say those a lot.
Yeah, there was actually a study where they said, because it's like the people who think they feel the phone in their pocket.
Yeah, I've definitely had that happen to me.
Well, no. Here's the thing.
It's all in my head.
Years before, when your phone didn't vibrate, nobody felt random vibrate sensations because we didn't have anything that did that. Mm-hmm. Now that we have something that's displaying ads based upon what we search on, it's the cognitive bias reaction of, I was just talking about that. Well, come to find out, 20% of Americans like you have been talking about it for the last, 90 days. So
gotcha. Yeah.
Dor, why are we looking at headphones that make you look like cats?
Because that was below with mine.
That was Dor's.
Oh.
It was there.
The Bars One cat headphones, wired even. Nice.
I mean, it was right next to some high-end RAM, a Asus 24X DVD writer, and
don't act like it's cool now.
But then there's some cat headphones, so I don't know what it's trying to tell me.
Doors, for some reason, I saw these cat headphones very recently myself. Somehow,
Google's been listening, or Amazon.
Yeah.
All right, let's dig out of this hole. Dor, bring us an app, please.
Okay. The app I'm going to bring here is by a longtime app developer, Franco. We've seen this guy before for years. He was the legendary quote unquote kernel developer for the longest time. He actually released 2 apps here like today or the very, very recently. This is called Naptime Super Doze Now for unrooted users too. And I'm going to pull out both of these apps because to me they're kind of the same thing. I don't really understand the difference to them.
Okay.
Here's the second one. It's called Servicely. Here's what I can tell you. Servicely is almost exactly like a built-in feature I already have on my phone. On my phone, I have a feature that says when the screen turns off, don't kill these apps. So by default, every time I hit the power button on my phone, basically every app got killed. thus crazy good battery life when I first got the phone. Then, of course, I slowly went through and whitelisted an app here and an app there and a podcast player here and Voxer there and other things. So I'm enabling these things to survive after I just tap my power button and um turn my uh, screen off. So what I think is Servicely is for root users what Naptime is for not root users. That's what I believe. The difference is with root, he can explicitly connect to the screen going off and then killing apps, where the other one is more of a like putting apps into hibernation mode. I think.
I've had Doze for a while. I don't even think about it. It's just the thing that when your phone's off, messages appear on your screen and then fade away. Is that what Doze is?
Those, especially if your phone does not experience gyro sensing movements and your screen is off, it will go into a lower battery mode where hypothetically with your phone picked up in your hand, it connects, let's just say every 5 seconds to a Google server to see if there's a new email. When you're in Doze mode, it pushes it down to like once a minute connect and check. It basically throttles down a lot of services that usually near continuously ping services and servers.
Doze is while plugging into my phone, I unplugged the cord from the wall and set it down on the desk. And 9 hours later, I woke up and I still had battery life. That you couldn't do that without Doze. But with Doze, you wake up and you have enough battery life for your alarm to at least wake you up, and then you realize, holy crap, I'm a moron. I better charge this while I'm showering. And it's very passive. It has to be, your phone has to be, I think, not charging. I don't think it will even kick in if your phone's plugged in the charger. So not charging, not moved, no messages or anything, no gyroscopic motion for a couple of hours. Then it kicks into Doze mode. And it has saved my bacon more than once. It's a great feature in Android 6 and above. And this just turns it on. But I'm reading this here. In order to do it without root, you have to do an ADB shell command to grant dump permissions and then do a grant write secure permission. And then once you do those two things, it'll work. So it's still not for the novice.
You've got to really want it. Yeah, so this is what I'm going to legitimately guess. I already have basically a Doze-like thing because multiple nights have went up and my phone's at like 76%. And I see that I have my cord down here and I didn't take it upstairs and I just set the phone down by the table. I go to bed, I wake up, it's like 2% less. So I'm going to say I already have something like this, at least on my phone already. And yeah, you got to really want this thing.
Well, it looks like it's been around since Marshmallow. So, maybe it's just for older phones that couldn't get it before.
Yeah, between 100,000 and 500,000 installs. But yeah, this is Francisco Franco, kernel developer, been here for a while. These are the kind of apps that you can trust in stability is what I'll say.
And I heard that the new iPhone X is going to have this in the next update. Sorry.
All right.
So if that wasn't annoying enough, I've got a game, and it's called Angry Birds, but it's Angry Birds Match by Rovio. Didn't somebody just buy Rovio for a bunch of? Oh no, they're going to have an IPO, aren't they? That's what it is.
Well, they better hurry up and do that because they're not going to be worth any more money anytime soon, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, so this basically takes all of the things you loved with Angry Birds and turned them into a Candy Crush game or a Bejeweled, basically. Except you have to be really stupid to even play it because it keeps giving you, and this is just my rant, but I don't like apps that hold my hand and teach me how to play a game. I got all the way up through level 6 and it was still telling me how to play the game. Slide this over here. Oh, wait, no, you can't do it on your own. Slide this over here like I asked you to. Oh, see what happens when you slide this over here? I don't know. Maybe it's made for 2-year-olds, and I'm just, I don't know. You should have a way to turn off ideas, because it's just it was annoying. And basically this is like Bejeweled, but instead of just like going to the next level when you clear off one, you have to tap like 18 different things. You have to press the key, and then you got to let me press the treasure chest, and then you hit open the treasure chest, and then you hit accept, and then you say really accept. You got the amount of touching you have to do just to get through is fatiguing. It's and I'm not usually down on Angry Birds games. I used to actually like them, but I just don't understand why they have to make you jump through so many hoops to play a Bejeweled game.
You have to, apparently reading the reviews, you can't save your progress unless you log in with Facebook. And Amy Raup says, unless you pay real money, you'll be playing some levels numerous times before advancing. So tired of coming within 1 or 2 moves of winning the level and then having to repeat. I don't know that I mean, if you didn't win, you didn't win. But whatever.
They've never played an Atari game, I guess. You know, we're from a different era, Mark.
Maybe this is just a social experiment. I don't know.
I think it. I mean, I don't even think 2-year-olds would understand why they're being taught every level on how to do the same thing.
Maybe because review thinks they're idiots.
I think, yeah, that must be.
But yeah, let's take a look. 107,000 reviews, 4.7 average rating, updated September 10th. Version 1.1.0. This thing is not old. Already between 1 million and 5 million installs.
I wonder if you can get like a special key or a power up for leaving a review on this thing, and that's how they get that many reviews.
I don't know.
Just reading through these for review here. Evie May's vlog says, best game for me as it to me concentrated. Plus, I don't think that anybody will be able to produce the same fun app. And because I'm really proud, that's why I 5-5 the birds coming. That was awesome.
Wow.
Mark. That
was a great one, dude. Really.
Where the hell is the podcast, Mark? Because you teased us, I'm pretty sure, long enough about this.
I actually paid to renew that domain. It's been more than a year since I had that idea.
It wouldn't take long to do. I mean, literally, you just randomly click in Google, just a minute here, a minute there, you're done.
And when I thought I thought the game was Angry Birds Match, where it might have been like a learning game for kids. Like they got a match, like the match game. We got cards that you flip over and you find a red bird over here, and you got to remember that the red bird's also up in the corner. And you got to match them, right? That's what I really thought this game was. I didn't realize it was a Bejeweled game until I started playing. I had more hope than I should have.
If I were going to do the dramaticreviews.com podcast, I would need a list of places to find thousands upon thousands of games, and a way we could do that is from our own list of games that we don't talk about nearly enough.
Yeah, it's well over 4,500.
So we have an email from a fellow by the name of Jonathan. He says, do you guys have a list of every app you have reviewed or presented on the show? Is it just sorted under each individual episode? I recently switched to Android and picked up an S8 Plus. Decent phone. I'm used to iPhone and interface and technology, but I'm liking the feel so far. I've been listening to your podcast in reverse order, and I'm probably going to stop when I start hearing about mentions of older technology / phones, etc., or try to fast forward to the app portion. Thank you so much for your time, and I will definitely be donating if I continue to like the show as much as I do so far.
That almost sounds like a threat.
Welcome to Android, sir. I'm glad to hear from you.
Thank you for upgrading finally.
Well, yeah, and S8, I'm going to put it like this. It's a fine device. There's technically nothing wrong with this. I just despise the company and the OSs they put on their devices. To me, it's a personal thing. It's like somebody saying they don't like Hawaiian pizza. Maybe it's like that.
I hate Hawaiian pizza. I gotta say I do. I would be plenty happy with an S8 Plus though. Good purchase, sir. Especially coming from an iPhone.
Yeah, it is a perfectly fine device. And almost sound like a threat. Like if I continue to like the show, well, damn. I don't.
That's a challenge.
I don't know. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. I did send him a link to the Excel spreadsheet with all the apps, and I will say, we did have a guy. I'm gonna have to ping him again. He was working on a PHP searchable database web page that we could put on Podnutz to have it indexable, searchable, a little bit more interactive, better looking, definitely, and see if we can get that up and running, finalized. Because yeah, we're up to over 4,500 apps, and there's a lot.
Do you guys like Hawaiian pizza?
I've eaten it.
Would you order it?
Well, now I can't order because it's both fruit and dough and tomato, so I can't order.
Okay.
Fruit and tomato is redundant.
A year ago, would you have ordered it?
No.
Okay. That's Mark.
I don't enjoy pineapple as a rule, and it has no business on a pizza.
Okay. I'm glad that we all have a consensus here.
Can't we all just get along?
We can, obviously. We can.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember eating it before, and I remember thinking, why the hell would somebody do this? And then I heard, well, it was made in California. Now I understand. Somebody on a lot of drugs thought this would be a good idea. Gotcha.
Well, they put anchovies and avocados on pizza, so
I've had spinach on pizza, and that hasn't been bad. But no, not pineapple. No, I just don't like fruit and meat being anywhere close to each other.
Okay.
Like I don't like an orange glaze on my pork roast. No.
No pineapple on your ham.
No. I like pineapple by itself, and I like ham by itself, and I like oranges by itself, and I like pork roast by itself. I don't like them together.
All right.
Roger.
Now that we know that.
No.
What's your next step?
What I'm going to bring next is actually a game I've seen in a couple places. Either this guy invented something really good, or marketing is really on point, or something like that. Because this game has made the rounds already, at least on like Reddit. I've seen random gift dumps of people playing this game. I believe it's called Colotwino.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Nebula Bytes, they categorize it as a puzzle game, does contain ads, completely free to download, no in-app purchases, 79 reviews, 4.7 average reviews, updated September 6th, 2017, between 1,000 and 5,000 installs, current version 1.0.0. This is semi like a hybrid cross between a oh God, what did you say the last game was? Bejeweled and Dr. Mario. It's hard to explain. The number one rule you must remember, people, is there is no video for it in Google Play, which means it's a damn good game. You have 6 different types of blocks at the bottom of your screen. There are typically only 1 or 2 sets of blocks. There's either 1 block by itself or 2 with colors on them. Your goal is to basically group or pair up. It doesn't have to be a straight line, up to, I believe it is 5 of the same color. And with time, the number of colors increase, and the board size can also go up as well. I do believe they also intelligently have a color blind mode where instead of colors, there's number of dots on the blocks, which makes it, I'd say, a little bit more friendly. But supposedly this game is very addictive, is what I will say. Eric?
I would say it would be. It looks fun. Have you played it yet?
I installed it, but I haven't clicked that icon yet.
No,
Because
it looks like something I'm gonna have to give it a try. I'm finally getting away. No, I can't say I am. I'm trying still to get away from BB-Tan 7, but it still gets
Anybody
to
else
me.
notice that the icon of it is a Tetris block?
very unbelievably
yeah.
Tetris-like, yes.
That gray form is a Tetris block.
Are we gonna have a challenge on this one, Dor?
I don't know, man.
Between now and next week?
I'm gonna tell you right now, your guys' dedication when it comes to these type of games, I'm always scared to say yes, because every time I think I do good at these games, it's like, I'm doing good. I don't need to play anymore. Then you guys post stuff and you blow me away.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm not addicted enough.
Well, I don't know. The screenshots don't look like huge impressive scores. 50 and 100. So, boy, if we can't do that anyway.
I'm serious. I'm always slightly afraid to start to open up a game. The things I've seen on Reddit say very addictive, lots of fun kind of stuff, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's pretty, but I don't know if I'm going to click it.
I can't do it. I cannot install this app, or you won't see me for 3 weeks.
It's installed. I'll be your test guinea pig. I've always wanted to be a guinea pig.
Twitchy finger on the mouse. I'm having to put my hand in my lap.
Install on the other phone, just so you won't always have it right there. It'll be in the other one. You have to go out of your way to get it.
I'm not so rich as you that I have phones in every room.
It's installed on the bathroom phone, Mark.
I'll be happy to send you my old Moto X. The battery's just a little bit puffy.
Yeah, I've got a Samsung Galaxy S3 I could send you, Mark, if you want. It's got extended battery on it and everything.
I heard a click in a drawer the other day, and I went to look, and one of my old Blackberries had actually the back had popped off because the battery swelled so much. It wasn't a boom; it was just a click as it finally reached to the point where it couldn't do it anymore.
I mean, I even got like original Firefox phones sitting within arm's reach.
Dude, you have an illness.
I do. It's enjoyable. That's all I gotta say.
Welcome to Dor's Museum of Phones.
Yeah. You know.
All right, gentlemen, as we near the hour mark, it's time to empty the tank. Eric, go for it.
I got no tank.
Oh, already emptied.
Emptied.
Okay. Well, then, since you said the word Tetris, I'll say I was triggered. So I'm going to bring this one. This is called Xcube. Again, no video in the store. I'm telling you guys, maybe we can keep it a secret between us and the podcast listeners. When there's not a video in the store, the game is genuinely better. I did click play on this, and it was definitely a little bit more challenging than I thought. This is called Xcube by Capella Entertainment, a puzzle game. E for everyone, does have ads, does have in-app purchases. Completely free to download. 102 reviews, 4.5 average reviews. September 8th was the last date of update. Current version 1.1.1. Installs between 10,000 and 50,000. This is three-dimensional Tetris. You have a block with 6 sides, and your goal is to have a line go from one side to the other, and it is not close to as easy as you're thinking in your head right now how easy it is. Because the outer, like a Rubik's Cube, the one dot in the middle, all the other dots affect and touch the other sides. So whenever you do something to an edge, it affects the other edge on the other side of that. So it's definitely a touch bit more tricky than you're thinking. It definitely takes a little bit of mental acrobatism to really get into this, but I definitely had a little bit of fun. and I definitely had to stop playing it.
You've broken my will. I couldn't resist 2 great-looking puzzle games.
You could have that one. That one looks way too difficult for me. I'm already entrenched in the first one, in the Colortwino. It's a lot more like Tetris than you'd think, because you can rotate the pieces as you go, just like Tetris.
Yeah. I'm going to bring one more here.
Good apps. Good app store.
That game is addictive. This is not a game. This is definitely a creator app I'm going to bring. This is called 3dc.io. And if you go to the website, which I believe is the website of the same name, they will let you basically do this in your web browser, and it does work on iOS and even Windows Phone. It is, yes, 3dc.io.
Windows Phone.
I believe it's in Windows Phone. It is by it's for 3D modeling. It is by 3D Creationist, E for Everyone education app. 4,810 reviews. Does have in-app purchase. Free to download, no ads. 4.0 average reviews. Updated August 3rd, 2017. Between 100,000 and 500,000 installs. No version number. So I'm going to guess this is an early version number. Basically, in this app, you can custom design 3D things to have printed out, is logic. You don't get crazy granularity, nor can you make like a stormtrooper helmet look perfect in this. This is almost like Minecraft detail meets 3D modeling, but you can get a little bit better. It's one of those things, directly proportional. The time you put into it will affect how much resolution you can get in your thing that you would like to make.
That's cool. I could see some kid moving from Minecraft to this very easily, and then printing it out.
So, Dor, if I was just really into 3D modeling and I wanted to take the next step from drawing it on a computer to actually printing a 3D device, and I really wanted to hear 5 or 6 experts in the field talk about this on a weekly basis, would you know where I could go to find such a thing?
Well, you could, but you'll also hear one idiot, and that's me. If you just go to podnutz.com, we have a show called the Makers, where we actually counted it up, I think, one time, and it was over 28 years experience in designing and modeling and crafting and making. Really smart guys on that show, much smarter than me. I'm there to learn, just like you guys, the listeners, is my logic. It's a hell of a lot of fun. I've learned a whole lot of stuff in the last week. Now, here's one of the most interesting things I learned. I can buy a flexible filament, an actual legitimate, like crazy flexible filament, like the OtterBox flexible part. I can buy that type of flexible filament, stretch a t-shirt over my 3D printer bed, 3D print on the shirt, take wax paper, iron it in just a little bit more kind of thing, and I can have custom shirts that they're not going to take a whole lot of washes, but they're custom shirts, and when I get tired with it, I can basically just scrape off the design and print a new design on the shirt.
And since this is the Podnutz network, it's Makers with a Z.
Yes, and that's what I got to fix, Mark. You can only find it now if you literally search all one word, THEMAKERZ, which might explain why we're not getting crazy download numbers. I'm just guessing. So I'm going to have to fix that one way or another. But yeah, fun show. Really smart guys. Yeah.
If you haven't listened to the show, I love listening to that show. It's one of my favorites. I heard about the thing you guys talked about 2 weeks ago, the lithothenes. That really intrigued me, and I want to check that out a little closer. Sounds neat.
Lithophane is a very ingenious, as far as I'm concerned, algorithm thing you do, where You have you can do it on flat or curved pieces. You can do it on light shade, lampshade kind of things, or just flat like windows kind of things, where you take a picture, you import it into an application. The inner depth of the material and the exterior depth, both of them in combination, will make something more or less dense. And if you have a semi-transparent filament, you take a picture, you put it through this process, so you can basically have a lampshade that doesn't have a whole lot of depth to it, you know, a little bit thicker in spots, but overall maybe like half an inch thick. And then when they turn on the light, images are very clearly visible through the material. I find that kind of stuff just crazy fascinating.
Yeah, I sent an email to that show. I don't know if you guys have read it or got to it yet, but I don't have a renter in my building, and I'm thinking about maybe starting up a makerspace, and just curious as what it takes to do that.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you should first and foremost always look for capital investment from other people, because this is a money-making endeavor. Do not let anyone fool you. This is a business. You basically, as a maker space, you open up, you get people to give you money. What you do is you tell people, if you pay for 2 years in advance up front, you'll get so much perks and so much bonuses. The people come in, you buy equipment, 3D printers, CNC machines, hand saws, jigs, drills, soldering irons, everything. Then you basically have experts donate time, and those people then officially train people on these devices. So they have to be certified. That covers your bacon legally. Then when the people want to use those devices, especially the newest people who come in, they have to pay a membership fee to the whole organization. Then they have to pay a fee to use the device itself. So if I want to 3D print something and it's going to take 8 hours, I got to pay $8 or something. You don't do it to make lots of money. You do it to make enough money to expand the maker space, but thus you're making an actual name for yourself, where if you have enough hardware, you will literally draw talent in. There's one in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The guy literally showed a guy in Sweden who was getting paid great money doing very high-end work for a company I cannot name, big company. And when he showed the guy the maker space, in 3 months, the guy moved to Massachusetts to become a part of that maker space. So he had access to all this hardware. And because he was a name, he said, look, you come over here, we'll give you an extreme discount on your fees, just because having him in our club, because now he's an expert who can help teach other people on how to do stuff even better. It's like one of those self-fulfilling prophecy kind of things.
I never thought about the wood and everything too. That's
yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
CNC,
some woodworkers, so that's good.
the CNCing and the lathing is really big stuff too.
I was just going to wait, see how long that silence would just draw out.
For a while, my throat hurts.
Oh, does it? Oh, don't worry.
I'm getting sick.
Oh no.
So yeah, the making is a thing, and it needs to be more of a thing. That's all I'm going to say. Look at your local makerspace. There's one out there.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
If you live anywhere near a large town, there is.
Yeah, we don't have anything. But we do have a Institute of Technology just down the street from our town. And I remember when I was going to go to school there, they had the clay, or no, it was wax, a CNC machine that did wax. It was like the beginning of computer-aided design into making something out of it, like the beginning of CNC machines, sort of. But yeah, that'd be kind of cool. And we've got a lot of artistic people around here, so should work out. Maybe we'll see how it goes.
All right. Any other words of wisdom that you'd like to say before we get started? Or
before we get started?
Before we start the show, hey guys, we're going to start any minute now.
I didn't really have any apps, but since we're starting the show, I could come up with something real quick. Yeah, I would say thanks for listening. Hey, iPhone convert. I don't forget your name already, but if you like the show, tell your friends about it too. if in case you have some other friends who you could talk to them about your S8 Plus, and they also got rid of their iPhone. Let them know about the show, and the rest of you guys let your friends and family know about the show too. So, I mean, it does seem pretty cool when you're always the guy with the cool apps that you can show off, but sometimes we're going to talk about stuff that you're not into, and they may be. So that's my word of wisdom, Mark.
All right. I did have a couple of emails that I have not read. One of them from our friend Soham Bapat was talking about the iPhone X, but we kind of had that discussion early on, and I didn't want to steal his thunder, so we'll read that another time and discuss it again. But other than that, I'll say pay for what you like. If you like this show, as the previous listener whose email I've deleted and don't remember his name did, and he said, if I like the show, I'm going to pay for it. That's the idea, right? But let's face it, some of you people have been listening to this show for years and have never contributed a dime. You're slackers. I'm just calling you out right now. You are lazy slackers because you've been getting value for this show for week after week for years, hundreds of shows now, and you've not done your part. Eric has done his part. Dor has done more than done his part. You haven't done your part. I'm calling you out right now. Go to patreon.com/Android App Addicts. Make a $1 donation. You owe us $1. You know you do. Make it happen.
True.
All right. Nobody else is going to say anything, so I'm just going to say that's it. Dor, do you want to say something?
I'll just say, Chuck, I love you.
Okay. Oh,
secret codes.
No, ain't secret. Okay. I got to copy this.
stream.
Yeah. Yeah. Over here. Click that. Come over here. Click.